following announcement has been paid for by the new Howl Order.
Whether the team is giving us the highest of highs or the bluest of blues, we'll cover it all here on Commanders Nightly News. Of course, I'm your host, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Let's get to tonight's lead story. Doesn't it seem like the team is always giving us the blues, though? When do they give us the highest of highs? That's very rare. It seems like it's always the bluest of blues. That said, yesterday was the bluest of blues. New York blues, if you will. I was looking at a tweet from, I think it was Michael Phillips, who used to cover the team for the Richmond Times-Dispatch or whatever. And he was ranking the worst losses in the Rivera era. And he put the one from Sunday at the very top. And I don't know if this one ranks at the very top for me. I mean, it was bad, man. I mean, I still go back to the Thursday night game against the Bears. I mean, the Bears were winless. At least the Giants have won 2 games, but they were starting Tommy DeVito. And that kind of just, we sacked him 9 times. We sacked him 5 times in the first quarter, and they still scored 31 points. I mean, let that sink in. I saw a statistic, because, we were wondering this on the post-game show. Washington is the first team since 1984. So this has happened before. I didn't think it had ever happened. It's hard for me to wrap my brain around having 9 sacks in a game and losing by double digits. That just, first of all, having 9 sacks and losing the game is one thing. Giving up 20 plus points in that same game is crazy and almost asinine. And then when you add to the fact that it was a 31-point outburst for the Giants with a team that hadn't scored jack poo diddly squat prior to this game with Tommy DeVito at quarterback, you just ask yourself, how did this happen? Now, we all know the turnovers, were the catalyst. But the defense still continues to give up big plays every week. It's their MO. It's their calling card. So it doesn't really matter what they do on first and second down because they're going to give it up on third down, right? Anyway, Washington was the first team since 1984 to register 9 or more sacks in a game and still lose by double digits. 1984. 2013, 2003, 93. Hey, you're talking about 4 decades. This hasn't happened in 40 years almost. 40 years! That's the level of incompetence we've reached yesterday, which is a brand new low for this organization. I don't know, maybe this one ranks at the very top. Where does this one rank for you in terms of level of disappointment, embarrassment in the Ron Rivera era? I think this one, the Cleveland game last year and the Bears game in week 5 this year have to be 1, 2, and 3. In whatever order you put them in, it's up to you. But to me, those have to be 1, 2, and 3. Now, you put them in whatever order you want. I still think I might put the Bears game. Because that was a prime timer. Everybody was watching, and you lost to a winless Bears team. And you didn't just lose, you got curb stomped by a winless Bears team. At the crib, they put up a 40 spot on you. Have some pride about yourself. I got to put that one at the top. I know a lot of you will say, well, it's the Browns game for me because we had a chance to make the playoffs, and then our coach didn't know after the game that we could be eliminated with a loss coupled with a Green Bay win. So there's a lot of things you could factor in as to why you would put one above the other. For me, it's the Bears game. That was as embarrassing as it gets. I did not see that coming. This one didn't blindside me. This one didn't hit me like my left tackle whiffed and I'm standing there looking down the field and I get walloped from the blind side and didn't see it coming. That Bears game did that to me. I got hit, fumbled, equilibrium was knocked off, didn't know if I was coming or going, and I didn't even know I fumbled the football. This one, I felt the pressure. I knew my left tackle whiffed. I felt the pressure. I tried the Tony Romo spin out of it, but I still got clipped. My ankle got clipped and I fell down, but I knew it was coming, right? I could see it. I didn't know it was coming, but I knew there was a chance it could be coming. And that I just kind of felt it. I had that sixth sense that, hey, this could be coming. So I think the Bears game still ranks at the top for me, but boy, what a debacle yesterday was. What a disaster. What a disaster this Ron Rivera era has turned into. It was already a mess and a fiasco, but you could blame some of that on his circumstance. He got here, and before he even coached the game, the name changed, right? And then he had cancer. Before he coached his first game, he got cancer. And then, you had to deal with all the Snyder shit. And it was just one thing after another. Then he couldn't find a quarterback. And it was just one thing after the next after the next. You could blame a lot of that stuff on circumstance. Now, what's your excuse? You got a quarterback. Snyder's no longer here. You got everything you've asked for since you got here, and you've gotten worse. And honestly, there's no excuse for it. This team is just awful right now. And I shudder to think at what could happen on Thanksgiving. I'm nervous because I really think we're on a collision for an ass whooping. Now, here's my saving grace. The one thing that I'm clinging to, and I'm talking about, I'm holding this thing as tight as my favorite blankie. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm Linus or something. In my mind, every even game has been a good one for the Commanders. Whether we win or lose, we show improve. Okay? Weeks 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I'm hoping 12 follows suit with the rest of those even numbered weeks. Because, again, we can go through all of the even weeks. There isn't a dud in there. I don't think. I'm pretty sure all of them have been contests where we walked away, win or lose, we walked away head held high. Week 2, Broncos. Week 4, first Eagles game. Week 6, Falcons game. Week 8, second Eagles game. Week 10, Seahawks game. So right now, that's the only thing I'm clinging to is, hey, it ain't an odd week, so we got a chance to go out there and not embarrass ourselves and piss down our leg. But yesterday was nasty. I mean, that was some nasty work. And everybody, you can't single somebody out and say, hey, they ain't had nothing to do with this. Everybody had a hand in the stink that we watched yesterday. Everybody left the game, left the field with a little bit of that stench on them because they had a hand in the 31-19 loss to the Giants. And you know what? It was good that nobody could take a bath. Take that funk home with you and let it resonate a little bit longer so you can understand that that shit was unacceptable. So everybody had a hand in it, from the staff. Honestly, that's an organizational loss. That starts at the very top, right? Not the very top. We gonna separate the ownership group from this because they ain't had nothing to do with this. They walked into this trash, right? They inherited this garbage. But we gonna chop it off at the general managers that we have, and Mark Mayhew, Marty Herney and company. And it's just all the way down. It trickles all the way down because they pick the players that we have, and they gave us this roster that is continuously not getting it done week after week after week. And then you get to the coaching staff not having these players prepared week after week after week after week, especially the odd weeks this season, which has just been mind-boggling how this has worked. You talk about consistency or lack thereof. We are the poster child for, and all Ronald wants to talk about is consistency. But bro, you haven't shown us consistency in your entire tenure, other than the fact that we usually get a win streak, and we're not getting it this year. That's abundantly clear, is that we're not going to get the Rivera streak this year that we've gotten the previous 3 years. That's the only consistent thing that we could count on is, hey, we're going to start slow because that's what Rivera does, not only in football games, but in entire seasons. We're going to start slow. We started 2-0. It's so hard to recollect the fact that we started this season 2-0 because it seems so long ago. Like, we're 4-7. We've lost 7 out of our last 9 ball games. So it's hard to even remember we started this season off with such hope and promise at 2-0. But here we are, 4-7, right? And we haven't won a home game since week 1 against Arizona. Somebody told me, and I don't know if this is accurate or not. I believe it. We've been horrible at home this season, okay? What kind of a home field advantage is it when you can't win at home and you can't even stop getting blown out at home? Somebody told me, because I brought this up yesterday, I was like, our differential, our point differential at home has to be the worst in football or one of the worst. I know the Giants have to be up there. They've been horrible at home this year. And they got beat 40-0 against Dallas. That right there in itself is going to put you at a grave disadvantage. And then they haven't been, too much better against other teams at home this season. So I'd imagine that the Giants have the worst home point differential in the league. That's my guess. But I think we've got to be in the top 3 in terms of the worst point differential at home. Somebody told me it was negative 69, minus 69 at home. I can believe that, by the way. You lost 37-3 to the Buffalo Bills. We lost to the Eagles by 7, 38-31. You lost to the Bears by 20, 40-20. So just right there, 34 plus 20 is 54, plus 7 is 61, and then the Cardinals, we beat them, 20-16? I think the score was, right? 20-16. So you minus 4 from that, and what did I say? I said 34 plus, that's 54, 61. So that takes you back to 57. And then the Giants just beat us by 12, 69. There you go. So that person was spot on. 69 minus 69 is the differential at home. We're awful, man. We are absolute garbage can juice. I don't even know how we got here. That's the part that is just like so mind-boggling. One week we look like a competent NFL outfit, and the next week we look like we should be in the XFL, or we should be playing in the USFL. Like, I just don't know why this team can't put 2 weeks of consistent tape together. Again, I blame it on the staff. That game on Sunday, though, you can't just say it's the staff. When you turn it over 6 times, and you fumble 4 times and 3 of them are lost, you throw 3 interceptions, you should have thrown a 4th, they dropped one, and they caught another one, but there was a penalty on the play, which I don't really like to count that one, because if the penalty doesn't happen, maybe the receiver is actually where the ball ended up. That's nor here nor there. The bottom line is, it could have been worse. We could have turned the ball over 8 or 9 times in this game. 8 or 9 times. It was just 6. Listen to what I just said. It was just 6. and we were hovering right around even in the plus minus category in terms of turnover. Well, that's over with. We'll finish with a negative now, for sure. You can't overcome 6. Because there won't be a game where we get back 4 and we win it 4-0. We don't do that. We barely create turnovers as is. So, what a disgusting performance yesterday. I told you there would be nothing done, because it doesn't make sense to make a move when you've got a game in 96 hours. It doesn't make any sense for anybody involved to be making huge wholesale changes knowing that there's a 10-day layoff after the Thanksgiving game where all the changes you want to make can be made then. And if you wanted to wait an additional week where you got 14 days between your next game, then you could do it then after the Dolphins Week 13 contest. So I think it's going to be done on Black Friday. Hence the name, Black Friday. But we'll see, man. I mean, you don't get much lower than losing to the Giants at home. What a debacle that was. Leave it down in the comment section. What is the worst loss for you in the Rivera era? You want to rank your top 5 worst Rivera moments? Please, humor me. Leave it down in the comment section. I can't wait to read it, but you don't have to do that. All I want to know is, where does this one rank? Is this at the very top? I still got the Bears as number 1. This is number 2 for me. I still got the Bears at no. I got this one at the Bears at 1, this one at 2, and I got the Browns game last year at 3. And some of you might have the Browns game from last year, because that had, and again, we weren't in the playoffs if we won that game. This wasn't 2016, with Kirk and the Giants and Jay Gruden week 17. Win and you're in. We had to win that game and then beat Dallas the following week, which we ultimately did. But you don't know what would have happened if we would have had the playoffs on the line. We would have choked against Dallas the following week. You guys know that. We had nothing to play for. They had nothing. Well, they had something to play for. We didn't. So we were able to go out, play loosey-goosey, and that's why we performed so well. When there are any expectations, when there's any added pressure, we wilt like a flower with no water under intense heat. We wilt under the pressure every single time. I got to assume that for most of you, you would understand that we probably weren't going to win that game. But doesn't matter. Leave it down in the comment section. Where does this one rank for you? Moving on to in other news. Ronald spoke today. I didn't watch. I didn't listen. I could care less about what he had to say. I told you I'm at the point now where it's almost like I'm wasting time. And, time is a very, very important resource. It's a non-renewable resource. You can't get that back. I can't donate 10 to 12 to even 15 minutes of my time to Ronald anymore because what he has to say doesn't matter. He's not going to be the coach here much longer. So I just didn't bother. So what we're going to do is replace that block of time with, because it's a condensed week, we got our snap counts from week 11. So we'll take a look at that. We got our injury report for week 12. We'll take a look at that. And then I got a big important announcement for you guys. So stay tuned for that. All right. And I know a lot of you were already done. Some of you had told me, hey, I'll see you next season. Look, just give me one more week. Okay, just give me one more week. And then after this, I'll see you next year. Okay, so stick around for that announcement. But let's first take a look at the injury report. I think we're going to take a look at the injury report first. Maybe the snap counts. Let's see. Which one is it? Injury report. Let's start there. Injury reports for week 12 against Dallas. Quick turnaround. So obviously this list that you see in front of you is a list based off of if there were an actual practice today. Now they're going to have a walkthrough. Okay. So theoretically, everybody should be able to participate. But the fact that if you can't on a limited basis participate in a walkthrough, because nobody's practicing the day after a game. Guys can barely get out of bed. So Alex Armour with the hamstring, probably going to be out again. Not probably. He's going to be out again. Emmanuel Forbes Jr. elbow. We'll see. Remember, he left the game, came back in, but that's adrenaline. It swells up on you, and all of a sudden you can't even move your arm. So he might be out of this game, which we can ill afford. We can't afford any more injuries to the secondary. So they were dropping like flies during the game. I was like, shit, this Thursday game is going to be brutal because who are we going to have in the secondary? Because he went down, and then I think we had another injury in the secondary. So it felt like, man, this is getting rough. DeJohn Harris quad didn't practice. FA, you feel for him. It was an ugly situation. Deron Payne fell on his leg, snapped his tibia and fibia. He had surgery. Like, it was so serious. He had surgery at the hospital on Sunday to repair that. So he's done for the season. Ronald did say that the surgery was successful, but he is on IR, and and pretty much his Washington career is done because he was on a 1-year deal, and FA is already 30 years old. So that could be it for his career, to be honest with you. I don't know if he bounces back from that at all. And I enjoyed FA, man, over this last year and a half or so. That's an unfortunate end to his Washington Commanders run. James Smith-Williams, hamstring, didn't play in week number 11. I doubt he plays in week 12 either. Same with Alex Armour, both dealing with a hamstring. Sam Cosmi, chest limited. Antonio Gibson, toe limited, which is a good sign. Again, it's a walkthrough, but that's a good sign. Quan Martin, shoulder limited. And then Cody Barton, who had his 21-day window opened, which a lot of you were talking all of this ish about him, but you got you a glob of Mayo. Mayo actually played really good on Sunday. Anyway, he's had his window open, and he probably will play against Dallas on Thursday. And Curtis Samuel with the toe was a full participant, and he should be good to go. Did he even catch the football against the Giants? I mean, that's how bad. I mean, our inability to get playmakers of football. Like Curtis, I don't know if he's had a touch in terms of a running touch, backfield, jet sweep, anything. I don't know if he's had one of those in over a month. I mean, this offense is just mind-boggling sometimes. But That's the injury report. Nothing here sticks out other than Emmanuel Forbes' elbow. That's something to keep an eye on because if he can't go, you're going to be thrusting Danny Johnson back into the lineup. And not that Danny's a chump, but you would prefer to have Forbes, Fuller, and Juice out there and not Forbes or Juice, Fuller, and Johnson out there. But whatever the case may be, the secondary is they're a mark right now, period. We just don't get it done on that back end. So with the struggles up front, getting to the quarterback, and I know the Giants game, 9 sacks, whoop-dee-doo. The Giants stink. You know, Tommy DeVito stinks, and that's how you got 9 sacks. You know, if they were competent in what they were doing, we wouldn't have sniffed him but once or twice maybe, max. So still understand that we're not getting to the quarterback. And it will revert back to its default pass rush status against Dallas on Thursday. You have to know this. So they're running a real offensive operation over there. And I say that, and yet we still gave up 31 points. So there's that too. Anyway, I digress. Let's get to the Cowboys side of things. Running back Rico Dowdle, ankle, did not practice. Keep an eye on that because he's been really solid for them over the last month or so as a backup option to Tony Pollard. Peyton Hendershot, their tight end, ankle, full. Jaron Kearse, back, did not practice. Keep an eye on that. He's a huge part of their defense. CeeDee Lamb, ankle, limited. He'll be fine. Osa Odigizua, defensive tackle, hamstring full, so he'll probably be a full go. Terrence Steele, tackle, ankle limited. He'll go, you know. And then Kavontae Turpin, shoulder. He's a full participant. So they're going to be pretty much in full mass on Thursday. Rico Dowdle and Jaron Kearse, we'll keep an eye on them. But I'm just assuming that this is some Monday type stuff for them, right? If this game were a Sunday and this injury report came out on Wednesday like it normally would, they probably would have been limited participants. Maybe even still DMPs, but they would have been fine. You know, when you condense it like we are, it makes it tough to bounce back. We'll see if they have any issues there. Let's go ahead and go straight to the snap counts from week number 11 for Washington. 81 offensive snaps for the Commanders. As you can see, Larson, Howe, Cosme, Paul, Leno, and Wiley all played all 81 snaps. So the 5 offensive linemen and the quarterback were on the field for all 81 of the offensive snaps, 100%. McLaurin, 65% of the snaps, 65 snaps, 80%. Jahan Dotson, 64. Again, he's out there for cardiovascular purposes. Only 4 targets and 3 catches. 1 was a touchdown, but I mean, it's getting old now. This is becoming old hat, and McLaurin hasn't had a game over 90 yards since last season, the end of last season. He hasn't had a single game this year where he's had more than 90 yards receiving. That in itself is a fireable offense for Eric Bieniemy. Right there. Like, you should be fired for that. You got Tay Banks over here talking like he is him, asking us a question that I'm like, bro, let me see your driver's license. Are you even old enough to drink? And he's over here challenging, talking about where was 17? Did he even play today? He had the audacity, like he got it like that. That's the kind of confidence we instilling in garbage dudes around the league, feeling like they could talk shit. Cause our coordinator ain't making people respect what we got over here. Shit is ridiculous. Brian Robinson Jr., 63 snaps, 78%. Logan Thomas, 57 for 70%. John Bates, 47 for 58%. Jamison Crowder, 24 for 30%. Byron Pringle, 21. Same with Diami for 26%. Chris Rodriguez, 16. We didn't see his ass after the fumble at all, I don't think. If I'm not mistaken. That might have been it for him. And he was having such a good game, too. But that's his problem. That was his problem in college. And if you're going to be this downhill, straight runner, he don't make nobody miss. He don't got no wiggle. If you ain't going to have no other attributes other than stick your foot in the ground, one cut and go, get up the field and be physical, you better hold on to the damn football. He a basic ass back. And if you're going to be basic, you can't fumble. Because you don't add nothing extra. You don't make nobody miss. And you're not a big time pass catcher. You don't make nobody miss. And you don't have home run speed. So if all you doing is being physical in between the tackles, you better hold on to the damn football. 20% of the snaps for him. Curtis Samuel, only 13 snaps for him, 16%. Cole Turner, 11 snaps, 14%. And Derek Gore, 3 snaps, 4%. So anything you see here stick out for you? Somebody need more, somebody need less. Leave it down in the comment section. And then we get to the defensive side. 55 snaps for the defense, which that's such a low number. Everything you look at statistically, you say, how is it that we not only lost this game, but we lost by double digits? And again, the turnovers. You got 6 turnovers, dude. There's nothing else that you need to explain. You didn't get a single turnover. You didn't force a single turnover, but you gave it away 6 times. And it could have been 7 or 8. 55 snaps for Cam Curl, Kendall Fuller, Jamin Davis, Benjamin St. Juste. Percy Butler played in 54 snaps. So 100% for Cam Curl, Kendall Fuller, Jamin Davis, Benjamin St. Juste. Percy Butler played in 98% of the snaps with 54 snaps. Casey Toohill, 46 snaps, 84%. Emmanuel Forbes Jr., 43 snaps, 78%. Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen each played 40 snaps, 73%. KJ Henry, 37 snaps, 67%. He had a whale of a ball game. I got to go back and watch it and just focus in on him to see if I can get excited about what he did or if it's just the Giants. Chalk it up to the Giants being the Giants, and you can't really, we're going to see what he does against Dallas. Much better offensive line, better operation. If he looks competent again, now we can have a conversation. I almost got to throw out everything I saw against the Giants. That shit don't even count. Just like if you're the Giants, don't think that Tommy DeVito is any good. Yeah, throw that shit out. It came against Washington. Throw it out. And look, you probably got to do the same thing against New England because they suck too. But we'll see. Anyway, David Mayo, 35 snaps, 64%. Andre Jones Jr., 26 snaps. I think that's a season high for him, 47%. John Ridgeway, 20 snaps, 36%. For Darian Mathis, 16 snaps, 29%. Quan Martin, 15 snaps, 27%. Khaleke Hudson, 6 snaps, 11%. Danny Johnson, 5 snaps, 9%. Terrell Burgess and F.A. both had 1 snap for 2% of the defensive snaps. F.A. obviously had the injury in his first snap in the game, his only snap in the game. And so anything look a little off to you here? Somebody need more snaps, somebody need less snaps. What says you? Leave it in the comment section. So obviously quick turnaround. Season's pretty much done. It had to be very embarrassing for Josh Harris on Sunday because you're expecting us to get our first home victory since week 1 against Arizona. And you know what I equate it to? It's like thinking you're going to get drafted in the first or second round. So you have this massive draft party at your house because you think you're going in the first round. Draft advisory board has told you you're a first round pick. The assumption is it's the first round. You're going to be a first round pick. And almost like showing up at the draft and then not getting drafted, or you have I think this is more like having a draft party at the house. It's less embarrassing when you're not on national television and you're the only person left in the green room. But for the purposes of being at home, which this was a home game and you invited people over, I'm going to say that this is like having a draft party at your house. You bring all your friends, your family, high school teammates, people that, support you. And you got all these people packed into your house like sardines, expecting to hear your name called on day 1. And it doesn't happen. And then everybody says, yo, it didn't happen in round 1, but that's a blessing. You're going to be straight. This is okay. You're going to get drafted in the second round though, bro. And then everybody comes back that next day. You're excited. A little disappointed you didn't go in the first round like you thought you would, but it's okay. You're going in the second round. And then you don't hear your name called in the second or the third round. You're like, what the, bro? And now it's almost like depression at this point, right? That's what it probably felt like for Josh Harris. He invited all of his chums, like all of his buddies. He had over 40 people he invited to the game. He had alumni. They showed Joe Theismann on the sideline. They showed John Riggins on the sideline. He brought back all these people, and we got our ass curb stomped by the damn Giants at the crib. One of the worst teams in football. We got our ass mopped. He had to be embarrassed. Like, you know what? Ain't this about a bitch? So, change is coming. It's just a matter of when. I mean, it doesn't get much worse than that, right? That's the assumption. But anyway, I got a big announcement, man. I just, first of all, I want to thank y'all for y'all support. And, you know, this has been a tumultuous season, but it's not anything we haven't dealt with before. I know in the moment, the emotions are running really high, and usually the first emotion is the right emotion, right? That's your true, raw, genuine emotion. That's how you really feel. Now, you may say some things that you may regret in that moment, but that's how you felt, because that's the emotion that came out of you first when whatever happened. So I just want to say thank you for all of the support, man. And I've always said that you guys are like therapy for me, because this shit is not easy. When you lose as often as we do, and you get your hopes up sometimes, and then you get let down in the fashion that we often do, it's not easy. And so you guys have always been an outlet for me. And it's like therapy. We really lean on each other. It's actually gross that what this team has turned us into, because we literally are having like therapy sessions on a weekly basis almost. But that's nor here nor there. Big news is on Thanksgiving Day, after the Cowboys game, me, your man Louie T, and Law Nation will be on Bleacher Report live. Okay? So I need you, if you're done with the team and you don't want anything else to do with them for the remainder of the season, I get that. I just need you to show up for me. Okay? Support me on Bleacher Report. Watch me live as I go up there, whether we get beat up 47-12 or it's a competitive game or we sneak these boys. They're going to overlook us, right? Because we trash. And we just lost to the Giants, and they beat the Giants by a combined score of 89-17 this year. So they're going to overlook us. Maybe we can sneak these boys. Look, I'm just talking out loud, man. Don't pay me no mind. At the end of the day, I just want y'all to support the kid, man. Come over, check us out. And me and Law, you know, whether it's good or bad or ugly, me and Law going to have a good time chopping it up. One half of the Super Friends. So y'all come support, and then what I'll ultimately do is afterwards, I'm going to probably go live on my channel again after the game. And then we can just rap like we normally do. But, we're going to keep it nice and buttoned up for Bleacher Report. But I need y'all to come support the kid, man. And looking forward to it. It's been a long time coming. I was like, I've been waiting. When the hell I'm going to get the phone call, man? When y'all going to call me out of the bullpen? Took them a long time, but it finally happened, man. So. Looking forward to it, and I appreciate all the support, and y'all know what it is, man. It's all love. So hopefully you guys will enjoy your Thanksgiving food, and then after the game is done, you'll enjoy me and Law chopping it up for about 30 minutes roughly about what we just witnessed. Hopefully it is not a massacre on Thanksgiving Day. That's the hope. I surmise, again, it's an even week game, which is thank goodness. I surmise that they're gonna come out and they're gonna show that we're not as bad of a train wreck as it may appear. But that's a lie too. But the whole season has felt like one big lie. But that's nor here nor there. Anyway, I digress. Y'all know what it is. I appreciate y'all for supporting the kid. You know what it is. Post up. Take command. I look forward to chopping it up with you guys tomorrow night live on the Commanders Nightly News Live. I'll open up the phone lines tomorrow night and just let you guys vent. Let you guys say what you have to say, get it off your chest as we head into the Thanksgiving weekend. And I look forward to seeing you guys then. We got a big Monday night game tonight in the division. Eagles, Chiefs. This is massive. Super Bowl rematch from last year's epic contest. See what happens there. Can the Eagles remain as the best team in the NFL, or will the Chiefs join them along with the Detroit Lions at 8-2? We will see. So that's going to do it for me, your man Louie T. Until next time, you guys have a good one. Take care.
Here comes the diesel. Here comes the diesel. There's the snap. Hand to Riggins. Good hole. He's got the first down to the 40. He's gone.